suicide drone of the IRGC literally hit the floor on top of him. He got extremely lucky. Let's go and look at that. Now that was absolutely insane. And again, this just shows the Islamic Republic continue to target civilian areas, basically across the whole region. The only country that they are not attacking, where the US bases are located, is Turkey. And I think it's time to have a conversation about Erdogan, because he's becoming a bit of a problem for the whole world. And now the Islamic forces have also launched strikes on the Kurdish capital in northern Iraq. Let's go. Then we'll go to Tel Aviv in a minute. Yeah, and there's also the the United States have now obviously released their video of themselves, the US military, doing the strikes on Islamic Republic's air defense systems, and they have now all fallen apart. That's the wrong footage. I don't know what's going on. Okay, there we go. We have the... So that is the US military. And Qatar have now said that their country have been attacked by 65 missiles and 12 drones from Iran. So Qatar are not too happy. More celebrations. Actually, there is the United States, President Trump has now issued a global caution worldwide. So this is a worldwide alert to all American citizens around the world, because of course they are a target for the remaining statement saying the Iranian people have the right to determine their own future. Germany is cooperating closely with the United States, Israel, and partners in the region. We remain committed to peace and security in the region and to Israel's security. Okay, so the update.
All right, so for all those that are just tuning in, hopefully y'all can hear me now. Hopefully we got the audio working. Y'all let me know if it should be good. It's showing up on my end that it's working, so just let me know if you still can't hear me. But bro, this is a shame, man. I'm telling you, I woke up today and heard this news, and it's not that we weren't anticipating it happening, but it's just like when we reach a certain level of evil where something like this, the energy is being put out there, and we know what may come, what may not come, but just even if it's just what is happening right now, it's heavy. It's heavy. Like, we need a spiritual awakening. We need a spiritual awakening when it comes to this stuff. We need a spiritual awakening. And I'm going to keep, hold on, let me play this live in the background. I'm just going to turn the volume down while I'm talking, but that way y'all can still hear it live or still see it. I don't know what images they're going to be putting up. This is just the channel that it just came across. So, man, how y'all feeling, man? Like, I didn't have anything planned, nothing planned to talk to y'all about in detail. I just really wanted to, in real time, like as I'm looking up stuff, look it up with y'all, see how y'all feeling. I've been having different people send me some things. You guys let me know if it's, hold on one second. Let me see. My buddy sent me something on this dude. Are y'all familiar with that book, The False Prophet? And they're talking about a guy named Kahane. I don't know if it's, hold on, let me look back at the article. But we're going to review a bunch of stuff. This is wild. This is wild, bro. Somebody just asked in the comments, am I team Israel or team Iran? Bro, I'm team humanity. I'm team humanity. I'm not a fan of any of these groups. Like, I'm not a fan, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I understand what you're saying as far as like, are you team Israel or team Iran? No, bro. But let me answer the question that I think that you're asking, bro. Israel is bugging. Our country is completely run by Israel. I don't like it. It's disgusting to me. This is I'm not trying to lump anybody in a particular category, but the culture that is adopted by these Zionist Israelis is disgusting, bro. This is evil. This mindset of thinking that you can just go over there and create all these type of wars and destruction. I don't like it, bro. I don't like it. I don't like it. And I'm pointing out Israel and the Zionists because that's who's running my government. If Iran was sitting here running my government, if we were sitting here funding Iran with all this stuff, then maybe I would have a different tune. But Israel is bugging. And a lot of these Jewish people that are sitting back and wanted everybody's sympathy and empathy when it came to October 7th, who now conveniently want to step out of the way and act like they got nothing to do with Israel, like that connection is not there, even though we have Bibi Netanyahu constantly remind us this is the only Jewish state, always trying to emphasize that connection, bro. Y'all got to step up. Y'all got to say something. Y'all got to say something. Like what? And then to be hearing all of this stuff being done in the name of God, bro. This is why I don't respect any of these religions, bro. I'm gonna be honest. This is why I don't respect any religion. If you got a relationship with God, amazing. You got a relationship with Jesus, that's amazing. But all of these religious groups, where are y'all at, bro? We're watching God's commandments being violated in real time, and I don't see anybody taking action. I don't see, bro, where are y'all at? Where's the energy? And you want to know why people can't speak up on it? Is because they know that the same thing has been done in their name when it suits their interest. So for American Christians to be speaking about what Israel is doing from a moral standpoint. Now, we can talk about it from a standpoint as far as like, okay, I don't want my tax dollars going into this. I don't want to support their war efforts. But this is bigger than that. This is bigger than that. And the reason why a lot of Christians can't speak on this and call this out from a moral standpoint is because this is the exact way that America was created. So it's almost like the pot calling the kettle black, bro. This is evil going on, bro. And I don't know how people can just walk around and act like this is not existing, bro. Until it hits our door, until it hits our doorsteps, a lot of us won't react. Bro, this is pure evil, demonic, devilish. This is crazy. This is crazy, bro. We got certain people justifying stuff with scripture. This entire thing started with people claiming that they got a right to land from a promise from God 3,500 years ago, and our parents and their parents just went along with this type of shit, bro. Can you imagine? Oh, God gave me this land, bro. What God, bro? If your God gave you that, I don't respect your God. Your God doesn't. Since when? Oh, God gave me this crib. God, oh, these are the chosen people. Bro, who buys into that? Who bought into that? And like I said, a lot of Christians can't call it out because it's in your book. And even though it's supposed to be the new covenant that Jesus brought in, let's ask ourselves, what would Jesus do right now? What would Jesus do right now? This is, imagine saying that God inspired a book that talks about how much you can beat your slave. Imagine us really feeling like God inspired a book that sends Samuel to go give a message to Saul and tell him to go destroy women, kids, family, pets, cattle with the Amalekites. Bro, God didn't inspire this stuff. Y'all got to grow the fuck up, bro. God didn't inspire any of this stuff that we see happening, bro. Stop trying to bring God into this. I don't care, bro. I don't care anymore, bro. I don't care, bro. I'm fed up with all this walking on eggshells and stuff, calling this stuff out. And we go, well, it says it in the scripture, bro. I could write a scripture. Everything I do is inspired by God, the good and the bad, right? I'm God's being. God is my pops, bro. What are you talking about? That's the creator, right? So everything that we do is inspired by who created us. This is wild what we're seeing happening right now. Yo, I'm telling y'all, this is just, yo, I don't understand. I'm going to go on mute for a little bit, but it's, of course, and we talk about the Ukraine war too, bro. Yeah, the Ukraine war is ridiculous too. But the difference in the Russia and Ukraine war is we're not sending money to the group, in my opinion. And maybe I don't know enough about Russia and Ukraine war, but our money is not as tied. We're not as tied into that. America is not tied into that. We're literally, the bombs that are being used to drop on Iranians, those are American bombs. We paid for them. I paid for them. You pay taxes, then you paid for them too. Now, I understand that we may be supporting Ukraine, and I don't even want to compare the two, but I think looking back, I think overall we can look at this. Bro, it's all demonic. I don't rock with any war. Any war. That is the most non-human, ungodly, animalistic, beastly thing that we can subscribe to. That's like, imagine having, and going back to war crimes. You know what I'm saying? Like, think about it from this standpoint, war crimes. Why don't we just make war the crime? If we make war the crime, then it can never be seen as an option in order to solve problems. Because clearly when you have a disagreement, what happens in real life? If you have a disagreement with somebody that has leverage over you in a particular area, where does that disagreement typically stop? When they flex that leverage over you in one way or another. You have a conversation with your boss, you have a disagreement. Where does it stop? When he reminds you that he or she is your boss. That's when it stops. So therefore, when you always have war on the table as an option that we can choose, we're always going to end up getting there. Because when the person that has the mightier army does not get what they want, then therefore they're going to they're going to choose what's in their best interest. These are demonic people. These are people that have used the name of God, and we've allowed them to. We've allowed them to step on God, to use and abuse God in order to do the devil's bidding. That's what we've all allowed. That's what we've all allowed. And because we're so scared, because we're so naive, we just accept these religions that just come our way. We just, I'm this, I'm that. You don't know anything about it. I talk to certain Christians about certain things that are in the Bible. They act like, wait, what? Where's that? You don't know anything about it. Pledging your life to something because somebody else told you that, this is God. This is God. Yo, stop allowing religion to gatekeep your relationship with God and your spiritual connection with everybody else here. This is the same play. And I know a lot of people may not like what I'm saying. A lot of people may not like what I'm saying, and that's cool. I didn't like the things that I'm saying right now. At one point, I didn't like them. But clearly we've landed in this position for a reason, right? So that means that isn't this how we look at the world or any other situation in our life? Like, let's say you go broke. Do you just look around and say, damn, how did I go broke? No, you start looking at the behaviors and the actions that you were taking in order to put yourself in this position. What was your outlook? What was your mindset? So why do we look at this any differently? We are approaching hell on earth, and we're not willing to question how we got here. How did we get here? Typically, we look at the people that are in control, the people that are in power, right? If we heard a story about some kids being malnourished, not being fed, and at home, and all these different things that they had. If we were looking at kids, we would say, well, damn, where were their parents? Why don't we use that same approach when it comes to this? Why don't we extend that same logic? Look at the people in control. We keep picking different people in control with these politicians. Bro, they all work for the same people. They all work for the same people, bro. And Matt wrote, Israel's the definition of religious extremism. This is what I believe we need to understand. This is all just my opinion. I've been wrong in the past. I'm wrong a lot. I'm just giving y'all my opinion. It shouldn't weigh any heavier than your opinion. I'm just giving my opinion. Israel is the definition of religious extremism. Religion is extremism. Now, you may not worship it and have a relationship with religion that's extreme, but ultimately religion is extremism. I'm gonna tell you why. I had a conversation with somebody the other day who was watching the whole live show and they were agreeing with certain things. And then at the end of the show, they were like, yeah, Jesus is the only way. That's what they wrote. And I said, no, Jesus is the only way for you. Perhaps that's what you believe. But when you say Jesus is the only way, you just declared war on everybody else that doesn't see it that way. That's what religion is. It's people thinking that they own everybody's relationship with God. Why can't you have your relationship with God? This person have their relationship with God. Theirs may be through Buddhism. Theirs may be through Hinduism. Theirs may be through Judaism. Theirs may be through Islam. Theirs may be through whatever else, the Baha'i faith, whatever else. But as soon as the religion aspect, it brings the ego out. Right, my God is an egotistical God. You can't worship any other God. That's when the ego starts coming out. That's man. That's not God. God would come on, bro. God competing with other, like, what are we even talking about? What that's man, and that's why we can't understand it, because we look at everything through the lens of man, a less than version of the creator that brought us here, right? A less than version. That's why we can adopt these type of ways of looking at things where it's like, well, yeah, you can only worship my God, or this is the only way. This is the only way to do what? It's a control. They're trying to control us, and we're too dumb to wake up and realize it. We're too dumb to wake up and realize it. So I think religion is extreme, period. Religion is extreme, period. And Mr. Billion wrote, we all believe in the same God. No, the hell we don't. No, the hell we don't. We don't all believe in the same God. There's no way we believe in the same God, because if we all believed in the same God, we would be seeing different actions. We don't all move the same way. We don't all believe in the same God. We don't all believe in the same God. There's a lot of us that believe in a lot of little g gods, a lot of false gods. And all we have to do is look at the actions. When just think about it from this standpoint. If God's commandment is thou shalt not kill, if God's commandment is thou shalt not kill, and then people are killing in God's name and justifying it with God's name, that God, like, if God's commandment is thou shalt not kill, but then God tells somebody to go commit a genocide, I don't believe in that God, bro. And I don't believe in that God. I don't. And I don't know why you would either, but to each their own. To each their own. Islam, Judaism, Christianity, all the same God, bro. I don't care what the scripture says that it's all the same God, bro. It's not. It's not, bro. Unless y'all think that God, what do y'all think? What's the condition that a lot of people have when you have multiple personalities? What do y'all think? God has like this personality disorder? You think the same God that would tell us thou shalt not kill would then command somebody to commit a genocide, would then tell somebody else, oh yeah, you can beat your slave, just don't let them die on the next day, would tell somebody else eye for an eye, but then tell somebody else, oh, vengeance is for God only, that, and in the New Testament, them say, hey, walking away from a situation before it turns violent, that's what gets rewarded. Bro, I'm getting all these contradicting messages from God, bro. So unless y'all saying God got multiple personality disorder, then bro, we don't all believe in the same God. We do not all believe in the same God, bro. We should all believe in just a spiritual God, in my opinion, just my opinion. But as soon as people start, this is my religion, and this is how you're supposed to worship. These are the things, it's all out the window, bro. It's all out the window. Unless your God is telling you, like, would a God even like recognize competition in somebody else? Like, hey, there's going to be, you only worship me. Don't look over there. Like, would a God even like have that type of weak energy? That's like a dude who is not confident, being so over their girlfriend. You know what I mean? Like, don't look at that guy. Don't look at that guy. Don't look at that guy. Bro, you can look at whatever guy you want. I know what it is with me. You look at them guys. Look at them guys so you can understand who I am. Look at them guys. Yeah. Instead of not being confident, don't look their way. Don't look their way. Go learn all these other spiritualities. Go learn. Get about that. Go learn as much as you can. Because they have the confidence to understand that, hey, you should be over there learning, and ultimately you're gonna come home. We don't look, nah, bro. Nah, man. And Mr. Billion, I'm not saying you're wrong per se. Like, I'm not saying you're wrong from a scriptural from a scriptural standpoint. I'm not saying that you're wrong when it comes to that. What I'm saying is that there's no way that it's possible that we all do believe. Put it this way: if we all worship the same God, then why would the same God tell different people different instructions to live by? Would you let your son call another man daddy? What are you talking about, bro? They're all my kids. God is all my kids, bro. This you just made the point. Would you let your son call another man daddy? Bro, God, we're all God's kids. We are all God's children, I thought. That's the thing. You're making my point and don't even realize it. If I had to tell if my son, you know what my dad has never told me, Mr. Billion? My dad has never told me to call another man dad. My dad has never had to tell me, don't call another man dad. You want to know why my dad has never had to tell me that? It's because I know he's my dad. He doesn't have to say that. The only reason he would have to say that is if there's other people out here that, wait, well, that may be your dad too. That may be your dad. No, I know who my dad is. My dad knows who his son is. My dad knows who his kids are. So therefore, my dad has never had to tell my brother or me to never call another man dad, bro. Like, what type of insecurity would my dad be? Yo, don't call another man dad. I get uncomfortable with that. Like, no, you don't get uncomfortable. You're confident. Bro, my mom, I've had a relationship with a former mentor of mine, and his wife. I used to call her Mama something, right? I used to I used to call her that. My mom didn't get offended. She knows that that's not anything as far. She knows that I know who my mother is. Like, it's not anything that's up in the air. Like, this is, yo, man. No, I said my God is not, the ultimate God is not insecure. These gods that are made up, these false gods, like who, yo, like, let me ask you this, Mr. Billion. When's the last time that you had a conversation with God? All of y'all, when's the last time you had a conversation with God? I'm going to shut up, and I want some people to write in the comment. When's the last time you had a conversation with God? I want y'all to answer me. When's the last time you had a conversation with God? Why is everybody quiet now? So, Matt, thank you for stepping up, Matt. If you've had a conversation with God, and then you read some of these scriptures, does it sound like it's the same person? When you have a conversation with God, does it sound like it's the same person? And that's the point, Mama Lay. God is within all of us. It's a light within all of us. And you know what's happening? The people there's certain people. See, this is what I do like about the Jewish culture. Jewish people are not waiting on a Messiah. They know that they have every single power within them to execute whatever it is that they want to. Christians don't look at it like that. Christians are waiting for a Messiah to come back and save the world. Jewish people are not waiting for anybody, but they're doing it themselves. So now we have certain people. You have one group of people that believes that, oh, the Messiah is coming back. We just have to wait for the Messiah. You got the other group of people. They're like, bro, ain't no Messiah. Like, what are they talking? These people thinking that somebody's coming back to save them. Like, okay, you keep thinking that while we're going to save ourselves. And then we sit back and wonder why one group has superior power and leverage over the other. You got how many Jewish people on this planet compared to how many Christians on this planet? And you got that select few controlling the other ones. How does that happen? Because one group in their mindset, they know that, hey, ain't nobody coming to save us. We save ourselves. The other group, they still waiting, sitting around waiting. Mr. Billion said, and that's exactly, be still and know that I am. With all due respect, I'm not being still. You will never, and I don't see, there's a certain level of, I feel like, common sense when it comes to these spiritual conversations that just gets lost with certain religious people. Like, if you're religious, it's almost like, yo, like, you could just talk directly to God. Like, I feel like and hear me out when I say this. When I mean that, I say that there's a certain amount of common sense. When I grew up going to church, I was taught how to have a relationship with God. I was taught who God was. I didn't do that independent investigation on my own. I was taught, this is what you do. This is what God wants. This is how you please God. This is what I was taught, those things. I didn't learn through my own relationship. So therefore, I had to break out of all of the things and unlearn a lot of things so I can free my mind to gather new information, a new relationship, a new understanding. If you're sitting around waiting for somebody to come back, and perhaps just some food for thought, maybe when the Messiah is supposed to come back, or Jesus is supposed to come back, maybe it's supposed to be in the form of another person. Maybe that was just them saying like, yo, sooner or later, somebody with that same Christ-like energy is going to step up and rid us of this evil that we're facing. Maybe we weren't actually supposed to just sit back and wait for the same Jesus to come back. Perhaps that was just something in Jesus. Perhaps Jesus was just one of those people that were living during a time where there was a lot of evil, and Jesus just decided, I'm going to tap into every single bit of light that I have, that God gave me, and I'm going to spread that light through the world as much as I can. I don't care what comes from it. I don't care who's going to attack me. I don't care who is going to be a perceived threat just based on the truth that I'm bringing to the table. I don't care. And then based on that decision that he made, that purpose that he leaned into, then we look at him as a God. But it wasn't anything that see, maybe y'all subscribe to all this chosen stuff. I don't think that God chooses who's going to be a Messiah. I don't think God chooses who's going to be a good, decent person. I don't think God chooses who's going to be a bad person. I think we make those decisions. We make those decisions with our actions. Just like you can have somebody on earth that tries their hardest to move like the devil, we can have people on earth that try their hardest to move as godly as possible. As godly as possible, instead of waiting on somebody, bro. What are we waiting for, bro? They're killing. The devil's working. So you think, yeah, what is there? Isn't there a scripture in the Bible where it says that faith without work is dead? The devil is working. The quote unquote good people, they sitting back waiting, thinking that something's going to happen. The devil is working. So if God rewards those that work, then maybe that's why when we look around at the universe, when we look around at the planet, you got Russia, Ukraine, you got all these wars, and we just sit back as if we're okay with them. Maybe there's a reason for that, because the good ain't working as hard as evil. Good just want to sit back and think that all I have to do is be a good human being and just that. No. What did my college football coach tell me? Good is only good until better is required. Better is required. Wake up. Wake up. Or you could decide, and let me be clear. I'm just talking from my perspective. You can decide to do whatever it is that you want to do with your life. You could decide to, hey, I just want to be a decent person, and that's that. Okay, cool. Cool. Some people just want to play JV football. Others want to play varsity. Others want to go to college. Some people just want to, I just want to go D3 college. Others want to play D1. Others want to go to the league. I'm not saying that you're wrong, but what I'm saying is perhaps you're not tapping into maximizing your potential in an area that requires more of us to maximize our potential, because the people that are working for the devil, they are trying their hardest to maximize their evil potential. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Let me get with some of these chats. My fault. Yo, this is so crazy. Give Life said, mocking God, feel good. Yo, mocking God, feel, yo, people are so confused, bro. You are God. I am God. And it's a shame that so many people are scared to say that. It's a shame that you get into your 30s, your 40s, your 50s, your 60s, your 70s, and you're scared to realize that. I was created by God. Just like I am my parents, I am God, bro. What don't we get? I thought we are who we came from. When a lion has a baby, you have another lion, right? So when a God has kids, what are those kids? Like, yo, maybe this is, y'all think being obedient to some made up religion makes y'all holier than thou, and in reality, you're just scared. You're scared to venture off and have a direct relationship with God. You're scared to believe in yourself. You're scared that all that potential within to be a godly being, you're scared. That's why most people, the same way that they get scared in their jobs, most people never try to tap in and reach their full potential. They will stay at a 9-to-5 job, complaining for 40 years, not making the type of money that they want to make. Nobody chooses to maximize their potential. We do this on the job. We do this with our health and fitness. We do this across the board. We are average loving, comfort loving people. And we see the results of that average loving and comfort. And then we see the other people that are willing to tap into certain things and leverage power and maximize their potential. And then we sit back and wonder why we have an enslaved mindset and living in this world as slaves and peasants while everybody else is, Yeah, this is wild, man. This is wild, man. I don't get it, man. I don't get it. This is wild, man. Hold on, let me see what Mama Lay wrote. But Mama Lay, see, hold up. So Mama Lay said exactly, that's what that means. I am God. But when people see you write that, and I know, and obviously Mama Lay, we talk all the time. When you initially said your comment, I forget what the initial comment was. I'm trying to find it. When you initially said your comment, hold on. I want to make a point. And I'm going to ask you a question. I'm not even going to make a point. When you initially wrote something, you wrote, I am something, I am that I am. Keep it real. You feel uncomfortable telling people that you're God, that you are a God? Do you feel comfortable telling people that? You probably feel uncomfortable telling your friends that, right? Because you're scared that they're going to look at you funny, right? When you tell somebody, yo, that's when I get comments like that. When you wrote be still, you wrote be still and know that I am. When you write be still and know that I am, the majority, 99% of people watching will never know what you actually mean by that. I know what you mean by that. And I know exactly who you believe and who you know that you are. But the problem is we live in a world where everybody's so scared to say who they are. Everybody is so scared to say that. On one hand, you say God controls everything. There's a lot of people believing that God controls everything. So you're telling me that God is controlling what's happening right now? That this is God's work, what's going on in with Israel and Iran and Russia and Ukraine, that's God's work? Either God controls everything or he doesn't. It's either all knowing, all powerful. Which one is it? Which one is it? Because, okay, give me this statement, and then we can operate and back into some sort of understanding from there, or give me this statement and we can do the same. Which one is it for y'all? And Mama Lay, I know exactly where you stand on things. And Matt said most people are insecure. Most people are insecure and scared. That's why we buy into religion. You want to know why? Oh, you're scared to know how you got here. Oh, I don't want to walk around and know how and not be able to prove how I got here. Or I'm so scared to know what happens to me when I die. I don't care. You're so scared to know certain things that we'll never know until it happens, that you bought into believing in somebody who speaks confidently saying, oh, well, this is how this started. This is how this started. Most people who believe in God, I have multiple conversations with people who it's like we live in a world where people think they believe in Christianity, but at the same time, they also believe in evolution. Do you know how old I gotten to the point where I was like, wait, hold up. So if you're Christian, you can't believe in evolution? Like, wait, did we? It's like, is that crazy? Like, we're all over the place, bro. We're just blinded with information. Most of it doesn't matter. We are super ignorant. We're super out of touch with God. We are naive beings. Like, it's just very goofy. It's just very goofy. Very goofy, in my opinion. Hold on. You call it Christian ideals. Why do you think it's Christian ideals? Look, Mr. Billion wrote, but you are appealing to Christian ideals for your idea of God. Why is it Christian ideals? Don't we realize that most religions have the same stories? They got the same stories. It's just different people. They may pick and choose or translate something differently here and there to appeal to a particular group or make them look more favorable amongst the group that they're looking to control. What am I talking about that is Christian ideals? I'm talking about a golden rule, treating others the way that I want to be treated. That's what I live by. It covers everything. Dude, it covers treating others the way that I want to be treated, bro. You call it a Christ consciousness, you call it whatever consciousness you want. Call it, it's God, it's a spiritual consciousness. That's it. I'll say Christ is, hold up, this is the thing. When you have no, I'm everything. I'm Jewish, I'm Muslim, I'm Christian, I'm everything. I'm everything. I'm everything. The reason why I said Christ consciousness is because we live in America and most people are Christian. The reason why I said Christ consciousness is because a lot of the conversations that I have with let me not name call, with black people, I sit here and have conversations with black people. This is the people that I mostly go back and forth with when it comes to Christianity. I don't know what you are, but most of the time when I'm having conversations about Christianity, it's like, bro, you sit here and it's like, have you ever asked yourself, what did you believe in? What did your people believe in before you were made a slave? And the same people that would rape your mother, rape your daughter, rape your wife, the same people that will cut your penis off. Did you ever sit back and think, hey, what spirituality were you subscribing to before Christianity? Do people ever sit and wonder those things? Do we ever sit and wonder why a lot of people are Muslim in North Africa? Why a lot of black people in America are Christian? It's because the people that did the most horrific things to you forced you to accept that religion. And do we ever sit back and wonder, like, damn, I wonder, are there only like a couple different religions? Or are these just the only religions that survived? And when I say survived, when you think about manifest destiny and doctrine of discovery, which people, Europeans it used to be allowed in the name of God to go to any part of the planet that you want. And if those people are not believing in Christianity, you can conquer them. So it makes me wonder, like, damn, maybe all the good people were the people that were actually believing in true spirituality, who did not want to fight, who did not want to conquer. Maybe they all got conquered, and we're living in the world that has been created by the people that have done the devil's work in the name of God. Do we ever think about this? Oh, and Mr. Billion, no, nobody's getting upset. And a lot of, if you're not familiar, let me be clear. If you're not familiar with the stream that I stream a lot, look, I'm a passionate person, but nobody is upset. Nobody's getting nobody's arguing on the internet. Like I just share my opinions very passionately. And I may be completely wrong, and I'm cool with that. It frees me up in a lot of ways. I have no problem. I'm very passionate about stuff. If I like trying a new sport, I like going all in and then figuring out whether or not I like that new sport. I like going. So this is just who I am, who I've been, and where I've grown as. That I say I could be completely wrong. I may be completely wrong. And I would love for somebody just as passionate to tell me how I'm completely wrong so I can grow, because I used to see the world totally different. And for me to get out of this mindset that a lot of people stay stuck in their entire lives because they're never passionate about it. So they just sit back and don't say anything, don't have conversations. So therefore they never put themselves in a position to be wrong, AKA to learn and grow. They just keep doing the same thing. It's on repeat, cycle. There's a reason why certain people are threats to society and others are not. The type of people that are threats, the people that I looked up to in the past, those were the people shaking things up. Jesus, Malcolm X. Those are the type of the heroes that I like. The people that are willing to actually stand out there on what they believe in and let the chips fall where they may. Let's figure out who's really with who. But see, people that just kind of go with the flow and, never ruffle the feathers and you never had a real, you've never challenged your upbringing. Have you ever challenged everything about what you were taught from a religious standpoint growing up? Because how do you know that it's real unless you question it, right? I thought questions were encouraged, so therefore we can learn about something, because it's not about learning. It's about memorizing. It's about indoctrination. That's what it's about. If it was really about learning and growing, then people would appreciate you asking questions. Ask me questions, right? Ask anything, ask people questions. That's how you learn. Not by just memorizing and accepting what somebody says about something. But that takes time. That takes effort. That takes energy. We can't expect that. People don't have time for that. I got to watch my Netflix. Power's coming on. We got the new show, Real Housewives. We got all these goofy things that we get indulged, or that steals our time, rather than learning and thinking. Amalei said earlier, be still, right? Be still. That be still don't mean just sit there with the dumb face. Be still, how I took it, is be still. Take in what's coming. Meditate. Have those conversations. But that may just be how I choose to perceive it, because, look, I'm an action person, bro. Like, what are we doing? What's the plan? And I'll tell you what my plan is right now. I'm building it as I go, but my plan is to awaken as many people as possible to understand that they have that it within them, whatever that it is for you. Some people may call it Christ consciousness. Some people may call it the light. Some people may call it the truth. Some people may call it whatever it is that they want to call it. But you got it in you. You got it in you. And you may not like that you got it in you, because sometimes when you tell somebody that they got superpowers, that becomes intimidating. It's like, not everybody wants to know that they have superpowers. For one, if somebody no, I got superpowers. Now I'm going to, that may be a threat to certain people. Or I have superpowers. Wait, hold. Now I have to force myself. Now I can't accept just being average, because once I know that I have superpowers, now I know I'm just going to be disappointed now that if I'm just average. This thing go off. All right, they clicked off of this one. My fault. I initially wanted to to get some updates on y'all. Let me see if I can find some other update videos for y'all. Let me see if I can find. Oh yeah, so they said that let's take a look at this. Let's take a look at this. Sheesh, man. Whew. All right, let's take a look. Hold on. Let me make sure I'm catching up with y'all comments. My fault. So Mr. J660 said, I wanted to get back to the World War III angle. Very troubling development. Do you think oil prices spiking will make inflation really rip? Seems like the price of crude oil has been artificially devalued. Yo, I'm going to be honest. I don't even care. Like the price of gas, bro, like I don't, like, respectfully, bro, that's the last thing on my mind, bro. Like people are dying, bro. Like inflation. Bro, our God's commandments are being violated. I think we may have a little bit more to worry about than gas prices going up. Shout out to Jimmy. Jimmy said, also, we are supposed to believe in God. Do some research on the world and serpent worship. Your eyes will open. Many religions come from serpent worship. Yeah. Who's surprised by that? Look at the world. Oh, it definitely seems like this is some reptilian energy. I don't know what this can't be what God intended for humans to be acting and behaving like this. This is what, yo, this is. All right, so let me break this down. Christianity was in Africa before Europe. We act as if just because Christianity was in Ethiopia, that it was spread throughout Africa. Like that was the dominant religion. Let's talk a little bit about this. Even if it was Christianity in Europe, do you think that the same Christianity that was taught in Europe is the same Christianity that was taught by European slaveholders or Europeans that came here that were trying to enslave our minds? Do you think that was the same Christianity? I had this white pastor when I was having a bunch of these conversations with pastors. It took a white pastor to tell me, and I forget her name, and it's crazy. I'm so sad. I got to look at my phone and find her. She was the first person to tell me that, yeah, like the Christianity that is taught to black people, that's not the Christianity that was taught to white people. There's multiple, like Christianity is a spectrum. It's like if you learn football from one person, or if you learn how to do math from 10 different people, you may learn 10 different types of ways to do math, but it's still math, right? Christianity, bro, why do you think that they taught Nat Turner how to read? A lot of people don't know that Nat Turner was a pastor. He was preaching to black people. That's why he got fed up, because he was smart enough to understand, like, hold up, I'm reading this Bible and it's saying one thing. And they're applying all of the limitless, the freedom, the positive, the positivity, the upliftment. That's the Christianity that's given to the white people. But then when it comes to what they want me to teach these black people, it's obey your earthly master. It's all the reasons why you should be comfortable being a slave, because if you're a good slave, when you die, you may go to heaven. It's a totally different type of Christianity, bro. Totally different type. If that was the case, why did we how many translations have we had? Is it convenient that before the Europeans came over here and forced Christianity on black people, that they made a translation, this King James version? Go into any black church, you'll probably open up your Bible and see that it's the King James version. If Christianity was in Africa first, then why don't we read from the Ethiopia? Like, come on, bro. Come on, man. This is exactly what it is. My friend said he's Christian because of tradition and his family. It's a slave mindset. It's a lazy slave mindset. People, you get in trouble for turning in a book report in 4th grade if you didn't read the entire book. But you telling me you can pledge your entire life to something without doing any type of studying on it? You can join something that's so amazing. You can't turn in a silly ass book report in 4th grade if you didn't read the entire book, but you can become a Christian? Whoa. That's why I respect certain spiritualities like the Baha'i faith, where it requires young kids when they hit that 14, 15-year-old range to do your own independent investigation. Religion is not something that's passed down. What are we, Israeli? It's ethnicity as well as religion. No, bro. That's not how it works. Not in our best interest. That's not how it works. It doesn't even require you to learn anything about the religion. Imagine something being so amazing. You telling me we got to go through what, 12, 14 years of school in order to get a dumbass high school diploma? We got to go through all 14 years to get a dumbass high school diploma, but you don't have to do anything to become Christian. Is your diploma worth more than your Christianity? So why don't you have to study as much when it comes to Christianity? You don't have to study anything. But you got to study 14 years to learn what? Pythagorean theorem? Manipulated history? Goofy science experiments? How to build a volcano? Bro. This is, man. Yeah, let's see what's going on with this. Enough of me talking. Enough of me talking, man. Let's I just want people, critical thinking. Hold up. Tank said it. Like, critical thinking over religion. Like, can people just use some common sense? When you're reading these scriptures, bro, does it sound like God is talking, bro? That's all I'm asking. Does it sound like God is or does it sound like just think about what's going on right now in the world. Think about how we were manipulated into understanding the Holocaust. Think about it from this standpoint. Think about who was writing our textbooks. Shout out Ghislaine Maxwell's father, right? Okay. Think about how we were manipulated and indoctrinated. If they'll do it with textbooks, why don't we think they'll do it in other aspects? We grow up, the reason why we grow up, we don't know anything. I was listening to a podcast the other day where they said, like, yo, history before like 1500, the 1500s, like, yo, they just made it up. Like, it's just whatever we accept now. And I've always heard stuff like this. And I don't even share with y'all everything that I hear because certain things, I don't want to lose credibility. And I don't like to put certain things out there that contradict a lot of people's teachings. And if they're not like as willing to look at alternative history based, that, you know, when I say alternative, different than the one that they were taught growing up. Like, even when you look at the transatlantic slave trade, like, we just accepted that. The transatlantic slave trade. But then when you actually look at, hold up, boats coming over here, you can find a dinosaur. Bro, you can go to a museum and find a dinosaur bone from what? Millions of years ago? I don't even know how many years ago. I'm just saying millions. I don't know how long the dinosaurs were here, right? We just accept that they were here. We found the bones, so there had to be dinosaurs. Well, what about the other bones that they don't show us? What about the elongated heads that they don't show us? What about these large bodies that they don't show us? What about you telling me that you can find every single bone from that dinosaur, that T-Rex, but I've never seen a slave ship in person. I've never seen a slave ship in person. It just seems pretty convenient, the things that we can find a dinosaur bone from however many years ago, but there's still all these other things that are up in the air for quite. I don't know. Let me play a little bit of this video. They didn't preserve the yeah, they didn't preserve them. Facts. Y'all good. We live, baby. All right, let me play this video. Y'all get We'll get a little bit more. The Anunnakis. Okay, Matt up on the Anunnakis. What y'all think about the Anunnakis? Like all this stuff. Are y'all? And now watch this. Now it's gonna come out. Trump. The next time Trump needs a get out of jail free card, he's just gonna say, "Yeah, there's aliens," and we're gonna get into that whole conversation. Like, yeah, there's aliens. You think that this world could survive this long with just dumbass humans on it? There's got to be some sort of superior type of beings or something. Like we can't, like, look around. Like, let's play this video.
This in.
And what's crazy is we'll sit here and look at it's so funny how we pick and choose when it comes to the Bible, right? So we don't look into the book of Enoch, right? Where they're literally talking about the watchers. They're talking about beings coming from the sky. We can like, oh, they took it out. So yeah, that's not that part's not inspired by God. Everything else, yeah. But because humans took that part out, we're not gonna factor that in. That's how we look at stuff. Like we just pick it, like how silly, we just go along with whatever is given to us. Like the gullible, like how gullible are we? Like, damn, like take the shackles off your brain. Let's
Yeah, Sandra, we just got this in literally 2 minutes ago, but Fox News can confirm that Iran's supreme leader, the Ayatollah Khamenei, is dead following Israeli strikes against his compound and location earlier today. A senior Israeli official confirming this news.
Hold on. So, Mr. Billion, I'm with you. You said you think that we've reset a few times. Who do you think has reset? Who do you think is reset? Do you think? Let me ask y'all this. All right, hold on. So when you said that we've reset, I assume that you're talking about the flood, right? The flood, Sodom and Gomorrah. Which you're talking about things like that where God either destroyed some type of humanity, right? Destroyed it with a flood or destroyed it in a different way, right? I assume that's what you're talking about. Do y'all think that God, any parent of any kid would say, y'all kids ain't acting up, let me flood y'all niggas? Do y'all really think that a God would do that? I'm gonna tell y'all, I have no way of proving anything that I'm getting ready to say. No way of proving it. But what it seems like to me, because it seems like in 2,000 years from now, people are going to be learning about what's going on between Israel and Palestine and Russia and Ukraine. And they're going to be writing in it as if it's a scripture saying, well, God directed us to do this. And this was the Holy Land. So therefore, that's what it's going to say. Do you really think God would flood a planet with all his kids on it? Or perhaps some rich and wealthy people got together and they said, hey, y'all better build some bunkers, whether it's a fire, since now it's nuclear, right? But let's say before they said, yo, y'all better build the ark. Matter of fact, what type of God would go to one person, Noah, and not tell the rest of his kids that there's a flood coming? Yo, I like you. You my favorite kid. I'm killing all the rest of these kids. But you, I see potential. Would you even respect a parent that did that? You wouldn't respect a parent that did that, but you love God for doing it. Who has higher standards, God or humans? Where are we? Like, what are we doing? They gonna say, yo, this is what they gonna say. Everybody gonna build Zuckerberg and all the rich folk, they gonna have their bunkers, right? They're going to have all their bunkers. And then there's going to be a nuclear blast, right? And then all of us poor folk, all of us slaves, we don't got no bunkers. We're going to have to figure it out, right? We're going to have to figure it out. So then when everything is done, those rich folk going to come about their bunkers. And then they're going to have to start writing a story of how did all of humanity? Well, the humans were living in a terrible way and they couldn't figure out their problems, and they had developed superior forms of weaponry using nuclear weapons, and therefore they may even throw in some alien stuff in there, and then they may remove certain stuff. Maybe 1,000 years after that they say, well, let's remove that part. You know, we don't need that part in there. I don't think that's maybe a little. All right, we got to adjust to the times. All right, so we'll leave that one out there. You know, we'll all get together at the Council of Nicaea. We'll all get together, and then we'll figure out in 1,000 years what stays in and what gets left out. So once again, getting back to the story. So then Zuckerberg, he comes out of his bunker, and now he's like, you know, all right, how do we figure this thing out? Is money still money? What's the currency? How do I make sure that things don't just go back to might is right? And because if I'm around with Zuckerberg, right? If Zuckerberg and I, and he doesn't have his money, and we're just at that point just fighting for food like animals, I don't think Zuckerberg's going to win that one. If Zuckerberg and I are fighting for the last piece of meat or vegetables, whatever it is, I don't think Zuckerberg's going to win that one. So what do they do? He'll make sure that he's in a position where he can, you know, be powerful, and with the other powerful people, they'll figure out a new way to lead us and what. This is all, bro. A flood, bro. God created a flood, bro. Come on now. Come on, bro. You got people having virgins having babies. Got people walking on water. You could do all that stuff, bro. Can you stop what's happening in Israel and Palestine? Can you do that one? This is like, God dang, man. Maybe this is why a lot of people love comic books, and a lot of people may not like what I'm saying, and that's totally fine. Totally fine. And I saw Mr. Billion wrote, hold on. What did Mr. Billion write? Mr. Billion wrote, no, I don't think God does bad things. I think humans have free will and the devil corrupts you. Okay, so let's keep going. The Old Testament, but I see your point. Okay, it's the same God. And a lot of people, right, to my understanding, right, it's the same God, just a new contract with humanity. But it's the same God, right? We have to be clear on that. Even though it's the Old Testament, it's the same God, right? It's just a new covenant, a new contract with humanity. Which one is it? Because I've heard Christians say both things. I hear Mike Huckabee get on TV, or Ted Cruz get on TV, and these evangelical pastors, and they'll act like the Old Testament. Oh, well, we need that. And they'll make excuses. Well, that was just adjusting to certain days and times. Could you imagine making an excuse for God? Oh, the Old Testament. Yeah, I know that they allowed slavery in the Old Testament, but the only reason they allowed it is because they were adjusting to the days and times. Bro, do y'all think that I'm stupid to think that? I'm sure there were humans that at that time did not think that slavery was okay, that thought that slavery was wrong. I'm sure that there were humans, just like you could teach a 5-year-old that slavery is wrong. So if that's the case, if there's certain humans on the planet that understand that slavery is wrong, are you telling me that God is adjusting to the evil ones instead of forcing the evil ones to adjust to the good ones? The quote unquote good ones, right? Because what is good, what's bad? But how about, let me be clear, the ones that did not believe in slavery. So who is God adjusting to? Let me keep going. I want to make sure that I'm keeping up with Mr. Billion's comments. There was a new covenant when Jesus came and God became less radical. It's all individual. It's the Bible. Pretty convenient. But I thought y'all told me that God was the all-knowing, all-powerful. So if God knew, why not just tell people with the old covenant, yeah, you can't have slaves? If people abide to God's law, just like if kids abide to the parent to their parents' law, would a parent ever tell that kid, if a parent knows better, yo, you could do heroin. You could do heroin. It's cool. Even though I know that heroin is terrible for you, even though I know that you could do heroin, but then 10 years later, all right, now we got a new contract. We got a new covenant. You can't do heroin anymore. We got to make some adjustments. Bro, you knew I shouldn't be doing heroin 10, 15 years ago. Why you ain't tell me? Oh, well, you're a kid. I wanted to give you everything you wanted. You know, I wanted to make some adjustments. Come on, bro. You good? Y'all good? Y'all good? Oh, hold on. My fault. Hold on. Well, give me 1 second. Hold on, y'all take a look at this video. I gotta hold on. And then when you get back, I'll help set it up for you. Yeah. All right. Cool. My apologies. Maya's bougie. She got my our lady Cleo, our friend Cleo. She does manicures and pedicures. Let's get back to the combo. All right. So Mr. Billion wrote, there was a new covenant when Jesus came and God became less radical. It's all in the Bible. Yes. But so do you think God just woke up and had some epiphany and said, oh yeah, y'all can be evil, but hold on. You know what? I don't want y'all having slaves no more. I don't want y'all committing genocides. Do you think that the same God that would tell Samuel to tell Saul to go commit genocide on a group of people, do you think that's the same person? I thought God was the all-knowing, all-powerful, all-being. So if that's the case, then how do you go from telling people to commit a genocide to, oh, Jesus is the way? How does that happen? We don't give man those excuses. If there's a man on this planet right now that goes into, did you give Hitler those excuses? So you holding Hitler to a higher standard than God, right? Hitler killed millions. But I think your God, based on the flood, I'm just saying, hold on, based on the flood, those are your words, not mine. God killed what, 100 millions more? How many people were on the planet when God decided to flood it and save Noah? Oh, but Hitler's evil. It's fine for us to understand that. But when it comes to God, oh, well, God had a reason. Well, maybe Hitler had reasons. Doesn't mean that it justifies you killing millions of people. But when it's God, we're okay. I thought like, to whom much is given, like more is required. What's the saying? Isn't there a saying like that? I thought that when you have a higher standard for yourself, more is required. I didn't think that a higher standard meant that you can get away with more stuff. I thought that it was the opposite, but maybe I'm wrong. Let me see. Hold on. In the Bible, but I could be wrong. No expert at this. None of us are experts at this. And in reality, what's an expert? Somebody that has memorized probably more bad information than somebody else. Who's an expert on this? We all just, nobody's an expert on this. Matter of fact, most of the experts that I've had conversations with, these pastors that are supposed to be experts on the word, those are the most disappointing conversations that I've had, because I've had all these conversations with pastors. When I start asking questions, they start getting uncomfortable. Then they start telling me, oh, well, you have to talk to God about that. Bro, I'm talking to you. You make a living off of communicating on behalf of God, right? Giving God's word, giving us a proper interpretation and teaching. But now when you get a question asked to you that you don't feel comfortable answering, instead of just saying, I don't know, that doesn't make sense to me, seems pretty contradicting to me as well. Because you don't want to disrespect your God, therefore you'll just tell me that I got to go have a conversation with God. But what y'all didn't know is that I did have a conversation with God, and this is why I'm talking with him in me now instead of seeking for him externally. All right, man, give me a sec, man. It's Maya's birthday weekend. I'm gonna jump off of here for a little bit, and then I'll be back on a little bit later. Oh, see, now y'all keep telling. He came back as a person and experienced life as a human, pain, suffering, and death. All right. All right, you got it. All right, y'all, you got it. Like, I mean, and I don't mean you, Mr. Billion. I'm saying people that subscribe to that, like, you got it. If you believe that, then cool. If you believe that, then cool. Like, I guess we just sitting here waiting now. We just gonna wait. All right. See, and all y'all waiting, see, this is what's gonna happen. I'm gonna leave it this. All y'all waiting, the people that take action, they gonna be hung on a cross while y'all sitting there waiting. And then y'all gonna feel real bad that y'all were waiting instead of taking action with your loved ones that actually decide to take action and they get put on a cross. Because I always sit back and wonder, like, damn, Jesus had all of these disciples. Where was they at when you couldn't just come hang my big brother without me getting hung right next to him? You couldn't just hang me up on no cross, bro. I'm going to see y'all in a few. I'm about to get a mani-pedi, yo. Let me get out of here for a little bit. I'll see y'all in a few. I'll be back live in a sec. I'll be back live in a few.